Well, that's a way to start a live. Hello, everybody. How are you doing? Guess my camera wanted to jump off of its thing. So, hopefully, you guys are having a great Monday. Um, I drove through a hurricane storm this morning to get to work, but it looks like the weather's gotten better here in Virginia, so super excited about that. Hopefully you guys had a good holiday last week. If you are here in the United States celebrating Thanksgiving, if you're not here in the United States, I hope you guys had a good weekend. Let's see. Let's see if I can get here. Let's see if I can move my camera and not have it plummet towards the ground. Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Doing pretty well yourself?
I'm doing all right. Let's see if I can get this camera pointed in the right direction and not fall on me this time. So
So, did you just come from work?
I am still currently in my office, so yes, I am finished with work.
Cool, cool.
I've got a seminar going on this week, so I was preparing for that. So took all
Are
of
you doing
last
like
week,
go ahead.
took all of last week off, so I decided that I needed to get everything done today since I didn't do much last week.
Yeah, you weren't feeling well, right?
Yeah, it was rough. I feel like right now with COVID and everything, it's just like as soon as you start to feel a little bit sick, like you start to like freak out and think that it could go for the worse. But
Yeah,
thankfully,
placebo effect for sure.
yeah, thankfully the fever never came. It was just sore throat, which sucks, especially for doing lives and seminars. Having a sore throat kind of sucks.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'll let you introduce yourself so people know who you are, and then we can kind of jump into a discussion.
All right. My name's Jeremy, and I'm from the DMV, and like DC, Maryland, Virginia, and I do music, and um, I've done a lot of different things throughout my life. Like, I sort of always would focus on one thing at a time and try to become like good at each thing over time. So, yeah, but recently I've just been focusing a lot on music and just trying to keep busy in this crazy time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome. Yeah. So you and I met each other, I don't know how many years ago it's been. I know that it was in
like
Harrisonburg.
7 years, maybe?
We've kind of stayed connected, and I've definitely seen like your life journey, which is kind of awesome. I think that when it comes to a lot of our journeys, like there's things that create us and turn us into the person that we are. And I think that yours has
Yeah.
definitely helped you with like your music, which is really cool that you're using 2020 to focus on that, because I think that there's a lot of people out there that aren't using their time wisely. I think that 2020 has given us all a lot of time to focus on things that we're passionate about. So it's really cool that you're like focusing on creating a music career.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. It seems to be going pretty well, but you know,
Have
it's
you
definitely. Oh, go ahead.
Is music something that you've always wanted to do and just kind of recently jumped into, or is that something that you've kind of discovered as an outlet here recently?
Um, so I've always loved music. Um, I think I've just like become to love it more and more, and just realize it's like if I love it and I seem to be doing all right with it, like maybe I could do something with it, since I love it so much. So, um, yeah, but I've done music. I started doing music like 10 years ago. Um, but it wasn't serious and the quality wasn't great. So, but yeah, now I go to like a studio and um, write to beats and put poems to beats and get stuff mixed. So yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I feel
Um,
like we kind of grew up in the time where we kind of watched like technology evolve right in front of our eyes. Because thinking of like writing music at home when I was little, like that would have meant singing and recording on a cassette tape, versus like what it is today, where you've got like Spotify and all those different streaming platforms
so
that you
many
can just
different streaming
publish on.
platforms. Yeah, it's
So
very cool.
when it comes to creating your music, like what are some of like the processes that you take to kind of create it?
Well, huh. I mean, I guess I kind of um there are two main ways. Is like I have poems and I like find a beat that I like and I like adapt to the beat. But then another way is to like write while I'm listening to the beat, which oftentimes the song sounds less choppy that way. Um, but yeah, and then there are other ways too, like vibing out with other people. I always really like that because it's like if you both bring like positive energy, the writing comes much more naturally. You know? It's sort of like it's like anything really, you know. Um, it sort of makes it like a team sport, kind of.
Yeah. I mean, just from getting to meet other creators from doing like the YouTube stuff, I definitely have found passion when it comes to creating with other people. I know that going to like LA and meeting all the different YouTube and content creators out there, like it it definitely made me realize that being here in rural Virginia, surrounded by tons of people who don't understand the idea of being a content creator, it's inspiring to be around other creators because they usually bring with them some type of knowledge that I don't have, and it really helps me kind of evolve and grow as a creator.
Yeah, I mean with like the growth aspect, like if you just continue, it's crazy. Like if you just continue at it, some things just naturally you just naturally improve and move in a positive direction.
Yeah,
Um,
I feel like when
yeah,
it comes to any type of creative aspect, like when you first
yeah,
start off, like it's not going to be the greatest. I think there's so many people that we can compare ourselves to now, especially in music, that when we compare like our first or rough drafts of stuff, I think that it's easy to discredit our own work. But I mean, I think it's really important to realize that like we all have to start somewhere. And over
yeah,
time, like just looking at stuff from when I first started to now, like the progress has like grown so much. And I think it's important for people to realize that if you've got a passion for like music or if you've got a passion for creating, like you just have to start. Like it's not going to be your best work right at the beginning. No one's is, but it's
right.
important to just start.
Yeah, there's and also like there's so many elements you have to master and be able to like put in place at the same time. Like I'm sure with your content creation, it's like there's tons of different just everything like when you're talking like your affect or your inflections or like just your tone of voice, your just all of that, you know, it's things that people don't think of, you know. And
Yeah.
there's more to it. Like for me, I know like with music, like I have to think of my tone, like how deep my voice is, the rhyme schemes, the like um, staying on beat, just all these different things all at the same time. But after a while, it's almost like you don't even really think about it. It just comes naturally, you know. So, but yeah, I was thinking about like what you said with, um, yeah, with having to start. Like if you start later, it's much more difficult. Like I know for me, I played soccer like since I was 4, and then when I was much older, other kids would start playing at the age, and it's just like not really possible for them to have the same level of skill and endurance and ability and all that stuff, you know?
Yeah, I think that
So it's just not
like
realistic.
looking at a lot of the creators out there that are like becoming musicians, becoming content creators on the internet, I've realized that when it comes to being a high schooler or a college student, or even someone who doesn't really have to live the adult life yet, it's a lot easier for them because they can spend so much time on their craft. Whereas, like for
Yeah.
me, I have to work my full time job and then I have to go home and find the energy to create content. And like you were talking about, like your voice and tones, that's one thing that when I'm editing my videos, I realize that after long days of work, like my tone and energy are like so low that I really have to like tune it up and like pep myself up. Sometimes it almost feels fake when I'm doing it, but it's important to realize that the content you're putting out, it does have to have an energy that keeps people watching. Otherwise, people are just gonna be like, wow, this is really boring. He's a drone. He's tired. I don't want to watch this.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah. It's a good point. Um, but um, but yeah, during like this time though, it's difficult to like find the energy to do a lot of stuff. Um, and it just sort of throws you way off. That's why so many people are struggling with certain things because of just everything going on. It's stressful. And
Yeah.
a lot of people are out of work, you know, like stuff like that. So, but
Yeah, I definitely feel like when it comes to being a creative, you have to have a certain mindset and dealing with negativity and everything that's going down in 2020. I think it's really hard to come home with a positive mindset to create content. Of course, there's content that you can create in a different state of mind, but I feel like my best content definitely comes out when I'm in a good, positive state of mind, which is hard to do sometimes in 2020.
yeah, I mean, I'm hoping for a vaccine soon.
Yeah, that would be really nice. I mean, it looks
Yeah.
like there's three different companies that are like really close to something, so hopefully that's something we'll see.
Yeah, but it's gonna have like it's supposed to have like one shot, like you'll get one shot and then you have to get like a subsequent shot months later, which is like just out of control.
Yeah, we gotta hope for the best. So
Yeah.
when it comes to your music, I think we have a little bit different taste in music. You've sent me some of your stuff, so like I'm more of a Carrie Underwood country music type person. So
Get it.
but I feel like
No,
when it comes to music, it's like an art that I think anyone can really appreciate each other's like art. I know that when it comes to any type of music, it takes a lot of processing and a lot of work. So I can always appreciate people's art, even if it's not like the style that I listen to on a regular basis. What would you say like is like the inspiration behind a lot of the lyrics that you put in your songs?
um, it's just like I find a general theme for each song. So I mean, it changes, but oftentimes just like past stuff that's happened in my past, for sure. Yeah. Um, but uh, yeah, yeah. I was thinking too, like, um, yeah. I forgot what I was gonna say, but but yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know. I forgot what I was gonna say.
You're fine. So
I'm tired.
So one thing that you said that you wanted to kind of touch on in this video was kind of like the mental health aspect of things. And I think that there's a lot of people out there that can relate to mental health, just because 2020, I think, has thrown us all for a loop. I think that even people that thought they had a clear bill when it came to their mental health, I think a lot of us have had to learn new ways of dealing with mental health, because for me a lot of the stuff that I did that kind of helped me with my mental health has been canceled or told like completely taken off the table of things I'm allowed to do. So when it comes to 2020 and like mental health, what are some things that you've kind of gone through, some of the things that you've kind of learned to do to kind of keep your head in the right place?
I mean, oftentimes I feel like which is just, it's normal in a crazy time like this to be like a little bit guarded, but like I've been trying to like drop my guard with certain people and share and open up just because I mean, it's really important to um it's really important in order to maintain like sanity, you know? If you keep everything in, then like for example, my music is a good outlet. Um but yeah, so I don't know what do you what have you been doing? You said a lot of it has kind of been negated kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I normally for me because I live in such a closed-minded area, I feel like I'm constantly at battle with the people around me when it comes to differences in opinions. So for me, like travel was something that I did a lot. I would rarely be in this area when it was my days off, and I would surround myself with people that were a little bit more like-minded, and a lot more creative, so that when it came to my creative juices, I was able to like get those flowing. But here recently, like I've been very confined to this area in Virginia, and honestly, like these lives have been like my outlet for connecting with people that are
Yeah.
similar and like-minded to myself. And
I think being outdoorsy is really important. Like doing outdoorsy things to get your stuff flowing, you know? Like recently I went to the beach and it was just so nice and calming and like serene and just by the time I was done I was like I felt so good. Um so I think that's like super important too. Um but um but yeah. I was wondering if you did want me uh to potentially like go a cappella and do a verse.
if you want to do that, go for it. I won't be able to join in, but I am all for someone else
Oh, but
doing
what I
it.
wanted to say before that, which I remembered, is that my music, my taste in music, like don't really correlate with like the music I produce. Like I do spoken word and rap, but I enjoy like all genres of music.
Yeah,
Um, so, but yeah, yeah, sure. Here, I wasn't sure if you'd want me to or not.
go for it.
So, all right, I'm gonna do one that I haven't released yet.
Perfect.
Does it have to be G rated?
I mean, I think that we have a pretty mature audience. I don't think that there's anyone that's really on here that is too young, so I think you'll be fine.
You think so?
I think you'll be
Okay.
good. I don't think I'll be canceled on the internet if it's not G-rated.
All right. It's from a song called Another Gay Washingtonian.
Okay.
All right. Northwest DC, the place to be, dude. In the capital, around the capital, I suck dick too. But if you got a problem, I guess we both do. Not the flaunt, but I can get any guy I want. Call it a contagious personality. Soon to have a crazy salary. And in my community, it's a much higher bar in every way. Gonna get hired with these bars though every day. Don't rock the diamond, I just rep it. Hey.
Nice. So so before all this like craziness happened this year, like I thought about doing a video on my channel trying to rap because I can't. For some reason, like my brain can't think that fast. But after 2020, I'm glad that I didn't, especially since I did some research about like what it's like to do that type of stuff on the internet. It could be definitely taken very wrong. But my sisters both can rap. I cannot. I just can't wrap my mind around it. Like, even if I listen to it 1,000 times, for some reason, like I start stumbling over words, and it's a snowball effect. So like I think it's extremely talent when other people can do that.
It's also like different kinds of rap too. Like I know like freestyling is like a whole nother beast. Like I don't even know.
Yeah,
Um,
I've seen a lot of different people do freestyle, and like I won an award in high school for improv, but I don't think I could improv that quickly because like I've seen
but
like
it's the
rap
same
battle,
sort of.
and it's crazy. Like my friend Jenner, I was just up there in Maryland, and he wasn't rapping, but he just like took a like random song and changed the words out as he was singing to his dog. And I was just like, gosh, I can't even do that. Like I can't even take a song that I know and change the words. So it's definitely, it takes talent to do something like that.
um, it's crazy though. Like I've just been like, just recently, I have a new housemate, and just our energy just like works together for some reason. And like every 2 days, we've cranked out one song, which is like a lot.
That is
So
crazy. So do you go to the studios to record those, or?
no, it's not. They're not mixed and mastered. They're using, and it's on like GarageBand, so it's not. Yeah, it's like raw. It's considered raw or whatever. But for most of my songs, I do go to the studio, and when I start selling songs, I'm gonna have to buy the beats. I haven't bought all the beats yet. The ones that I'm gonna need to buy that aren't created by my producer or like a friend or something like that.
Yeah. I feel like when it comes to like my content on the internet, like it's people are really picky when you use their music in the background. And I've honestly had
Yeah.
some people where I've worked with them and they wanted me to use their songs in the background of my videos just to help promote them. And then later on down the road, they wanted me to pay them to have that song in the background of my video. And I was like, wait, I was trying to help you promote. Now you're like trying to take me for my money. Like, I wasn't ready for this. So it's definitely interesting. So when it comes to your music, like you were saying that you've got like a housemate that you collab with, and then you've got a producer that you work with. Like, how often are you working with other people to create music?
Well, I try to reach out and collab and get features as frequently as possible, but I don't know. Like my right now, my I don't cur- I don't currently have like the biggest network.
Mm-hmm.
So, but there's a few people. There's one person that I'm making a song with. Um, uh, that was my friend from high school, and then yeah, there's just been various other artists. But yeah, have you ever made any type of music, like songs or raps or anything?
So I have tried to write songs. I actually bought like the Writing Songs for Dummies book from Barnes and Nobles because
Uh-huh.
I do have GarageBand on my MacBook, and I've played around with it a little bit, and I've recorded like vocals, but I have not actually
Uh-huh.
like fully put out a song. I did a YouTube video with one of my friends, Ben, who has put out several songs, and we wanted to work with each other because he's more local to here in Virginia. And
Okay.
honestly, like the lyrics and everything mean so much to me. Like when it comes to working with other people and collabing with other people, uh, just from making my own merch, like I know how much I like considered a child of mine or a baby, and I don't like other people touching it, but I also don't know how to do it, so I have to let people touch it. And
Well, your merch is pretty cool.
yeah,
I was digging it.
it took a long time to get there.
Really.
Like I worked with several different graphic designers before I was just like, I can't work with you. I'm sorry. Um, when it came to like people's ideas and like what they wanted from it and like the message behind it, like it was hard to find the right match for everything. But like my merch was supposed to come out like back in September on my birthday. It didn't come
Uh,
out until November because of me and the amount the amount of
but it's
people.
worth it though, because you want it to be, you want it to be something you really like. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah.
You
So
want to like love it.
that's kind of how I feel with like music. Like if I'm going to put out a song like the one that I have, I want it to literally be what I hear inside my head, but it's hard for me to explain that to someone who knows what they're doing. And they'll sit there and like play the stuff that they think would sound good, and I'm like, no, that's not it. That's absolutely wrong. I'm sorry, I can't do that. So it's gonna take someone who really really loves me a lot that's gonna be okay with me telling them that what they just did was not at all what I wanted, because um, I've just got this idea in my head of what I want it to be, and I haven't gotten there yet.
For the merchandise.
For a song, the
That's
merchandise
amazing.
is
That's
out.
what I thought. Yeah, because you got the merchandise that you want, right?
Yeah.
Cool, cool, cool.
See, for me, like,
Yeah, with music gets confusing, because like sometimes, I mean, it's not as common for me anymore, I guess. And I don't want to sound like conceited in any way. Just like my my ear for the music has improved, obviously. And but for a while, like I would rap stuff and I wanted it to sound a certain way, but then I realized like the producer would be like, but it sounds better this way. So like, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
I can relate to that.
I guess if I like found someone to work with that had something like content out there that's similar to what I would want, there's definitely people that like my friend Ben's music is very different than what I would create. And I was just like, I loved the idea of working with him, but like I'm scared that it could end a friendship because like
Oh no.
like if it's going to be my words and it's going to be my song, like I don't want to put something out that's not mine.
Also, you don't want to just put out stuff that's like nonsense, like jibble jabber, like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want it to mean something, even if it's something deeper. It's not like surface level or you know
Yeah. I
cryptic
mean,
in a sense.
when it comes to like my YouTube stuff, like I like editing and all of that takes so much work, and I don't think people realize how much work goes into everything that I create. And
Yeah.
people are like, "Oh, just have someone edit it for you." And I'm like, "Ah, I don't know about that, cuz then they'll edit it and it won't be the way I want it to be." And so for my work, like it's easier for me to do it all. It's just music for me, that would be a whole new platform. And a lot of people have reached out to me about turning these lives into like podcasts, which sounds awesome. But the more research I've been doing into like creating a podcast, like it's a lot more stuff that I'm going to have to learn. It's a lot more work that I'm going to have to do. And right now, I've already got so much on my plate. I'm just like, oh, that's a lot
Well,
of
what's a
work.
platform? What's a major platform for podcasts? Like I don't even know much about it.
I mean, I mean, Audible now has podcasts. Apple has podcasts.
Ooh, I just got Audible. Audible's the move.
I I am listening to Obama's book right now on Audible when I drive back and forth from work. So it's been
Oh, really? How do you like it?
I love it. I'm a little bit upset that it's two volumes and this is just volume one, because that book is like this thick. And I'm sitting there like, oh my God, this is gonna take forever to read. And then like first chapter, he's like, yeah, I couldn't get it all into one book, so this is just volume one. And I'm like, oh God, there's two. So, but I mean, he writes really well, and I enjoy listening to it because it's actually him reading it, and I think he's got an amazing speaking voice.
Oh, no way, really?
So, I'm just excited, and it's really current because like right from the beginning, he was talking about the pandemic. So like it's got everything that's like right into 2020. So
Okay, this is not important really, but does his book come with like the free month or whatever, or like the month you get, or do you have to spend a credit?
I mean, if you start, I think that you get the free credit on it. Like I spent one credit on it because I've had Audible
Okay,
for like several years now. But
so it's worth it. Right, right,
I
right.
would assume that it would come with if you have like the free month that it would be a part of it. I don't know how Audible works now.
Yeah, because I don't know. I'm working on getting through a book series that I read when I was younger, but and I really enjoy the guy's name is like Garrett Doyle or something.
Hmm.
He's from the UK, and he does the vocals. Um, it's really cool. I don't know. Do you know the Aragon books?
Yes.
The fantasy with the yeah. Yeah, I'm working on that.
Yeah, I
I don't know.
it's funny because there's a lot of like young adult books that are LGBT themed or have LGBT characters, and I've kind of been diving into those. It's kind of nice to escape 2020 and go into fiction, but I'm usually reading like multiple books at the same time. So I've got like one that I actually read when I'm in bed, then books that I listen to when I'm driving. But I've been trying to uncover tons of LGBT content books because I think that it's important
Yeah.
that people find those because I don't think there's enough role models in the LGBT community. And I love finding books that I can kind of share.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. I saw the one book on your story or whatever
Yeah.
that was about what is it again? It was like knowing it was about knowing your history.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's it's pretty much like the homosexual agenda in the United States. It starts with like the history of like what it was like to be gay in like the early years of the United States and like how far we've progressed. And it's really cool to kind of learn your history. It's funny because this year I spent so much time like educating myself around like the Black Lives Matter and the history of the Black Americans and like all the things that they've had to go through. And I was realizing that I was almost more educated on that subject than I was on my own community. So when I saw Eric's book, I was just like, oh my gosh, I need to read this so I can educate myself on the history of the LGBT community because
I want a copy.
get it. I was actually in Barnes and Nobles and I was surprised to find it on the shelves. It was, I think it was in like social interactions or social something in the library. Like they have it in different parts. Like I wish it was the LGBT section, but it wasn't. But I think that it's really cool to find that because I had been following him on social media for a while. I've actually been talking to him and his people to try to do a live with him here on Instagram so that we could kind of discuss like his knowledge around it because I think it's really important to educate ourselves on our own community because I think that it makes our arguments when we're fighting for equality a lot better. And I think it gives us that space to appreciate all the people who came before us that created a space for us to be able to do stuff like this online and be openly LGBT
Oh,
United
for sure.
States.
For sure. It's interesting though, it's still like coming out is still a process for many Americans.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I've been reaching out to people of all different walks of LGBT community, and I think it's amazing the work that so many people are doing. And I think that people don't realize that LGBT can be represented at pretty much anywhere. Like, you don't have to be in the gay parades, you don't have to be on social media representing the LGBT. Like, even like being out in your like doctor's office, like where you work, or just being out in your community and being proud of who you are, like
yeah.
that's still representation that wasn't there before. And I think that we're all building a platform for the future generations to have a lot louder voice. I think that like this year's elections, like I was seeing like LGBT people popping up everywhere, and I just thought it was amazing that so many LGBT people are getting involved in politics. And
Yeah, like Buttigieg, like what? Where did he come from? You know?
Yeah, I
But no, this just made me think. The other day I watched Milk, like Harvey Milk, the movie
mhm.
with Sean Penn and James Franco or whatever. So solid, and like multiple times I got like full body goosebumps and like I got choked up. Like it was awesome. And I don't know, have you watched it?
I did. I have watched. I think I watched it back in college, and I thought it was a really good. It's long.
Yeah, I've watched it multiple times, but I'd watched it a bit before, so I didn't remember every single thing. So
So when it comes to like take it back to the music aspect of things, I
um,
feel like
oh, do you want to see this too? Look.
oh, you got the rainbow on it. But to like take it back to like rap, I feel like rap music in general like has not been very LGBT friendly. I
No.
think that country music also is very un-LGBT friendly. Like, so how have you kind of been navigating that? Like, have you run into any obstacles with that?
Yeah, it's interesting because my producer's gay actually. Um, and there are other solid gay artists like over different genres, but it is like I I don't really encounter any other, like I haven't encountered any other gay rappers in like in person at least.
Yeah.
Um, but in regards to what you said about like there is a great deal of homophobia, but do you know a rapper named J. Cole?
I do not.
Okay, so whatever. Point is, like in one of his songs he was talking about like basically like like PC culture, like homophobia, like that's not cool and stuff like that. But like it's crazy to me because just like over I don't know, just only really in the past few years were people more concerned with what they said, you know? Like in regards to yeah. I don't know, it's difficult. I mean it's just it's a genre of music that I really love and enjoy. So I can't really but I don't want to be like grouped with those people in that way, you know? But I can't really control what people how people interpret my participation or not, you know?
Yeah. I feel like for the longest time when it came to like rap music, like women were like discredited and they
Women too.
spoke poorly of in rap songs. And I think that women have kind of taken that back when it comes to like the music and stuff that's out right now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
Like I want
not,
to open the door, you know? Yeah, like Snow the Product, like Nicki Minaj, Cardi B, like Megan Thee Stallion, like all these female rappers, you know, but I can only think of one gay rapper besides me.
yeah. I mean, when it comes to like that type of content, I feel like we have to make a stand in that area as well because I think that gay has to be represented in every like aspect of life because our community
Yeah,
like we're reflected in every culture, we're reflected in
heck
every
yeah.
gender, so I think that it's important that when it comes to music that we're represented across all the platforms as well because I mean I might not listen to rap music on a regular basis but I know a lot of different people that do and I think that it's important that they have lyrics that they can kind of sing along to and actually relate to those lyrics because I
Be
think that
proud, you know?
a lot of people like I listening to a lot of songs like the reason that I don't relate to some of the lyrics is because they are talking about like having sex with girls and for me that's just like whoop that's not
Yeah.
something I'm interested in.
That 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 is something that I like if unless unless like I'm doing the same thing on this like I don't even like that. Like if it's my song and someone's featured on my song, I don't want to hear about like heterosexual nonsense. Not I shouldn't call it nonsense, but like heterosexual stuff, you know? I want it to be my song, my like so but yeah, sometimes it kind of annoys me, you know, because yeah. So uh,
Yeah, I feel like the more that we can like normalize the LGBT community across any type of platform. So I think YouTube, we've kind of got that under our belt. Like people are very
yeah,
familiar with LGBT people on YouTube.
yes,
Uh,
for sure.
I know that Steve Grand is like a huge uh, gay icon in the country music genre, and he was like kind of looked at as someone that was just like, oh my gosh, he's breaking the mold because country music just doesn't like open up to that. And for me, it meant a lot to see someone breaking through those like roofs that were put on our community. Because I think
Yeah,
that when it comes to the LGBT community, like there's a lot of walls that are put in front of us. And anytime someone can kind of break those down and make it easier for people behind them to kind of go through and do something, like I think that that's a really good thing to do. And like the fact that, because right from the beginning, like the lyrics from the song that you kind of shared with us, like it was like,
yeah.
well, that's definitely an LGBT gay rap song right there. And I think that that's really important because I think that our community needs to have those walls broken down, and they need to see that there are no limits when it comes to the things that we can do as a community. And I think that each of
Well,
us play a role in that.
another thing is like not all my songs have stuff about being homosexual, but I also feel like because I don't feel I need to, but I also feel like I could have a many more that are without getting old or whatever. Like I think it's really important to have lots and lots of music, gay friendly music in the rap genre. Um, so yeah. Um, but yeah, Steve Grand is awesome. He's awesome. Um,
So,
it's also hot.
so when it comes to, I personally have realized that sex appeal and all of that plays into success in the gay community because we are a very sexualized community. I try to stay on uh, even playing field when it comes to the type of content that I put out because I also believe that when it comes to creating gay content that it doesn't all have to be sexualized to be appreciated,
No,
but
no.
I feel like when it comes to a lot of the stuff that Steve Grand does, I think that a lot of stuff he plays off of the sexualized aspect of our community a lot. And how do you feel about that type of stuff when it comes to creating content? Because, I mean, we know that sex sells.
Yeah. Gosh, I just got really distracted because my my housemate's playing like super loud music or whatever. Can you repeat the last thing you said?
So when it comes to like creating content and stuff like that, we know that like within the gay community, highly sexualized content definitely gets people's attention. Like, how do you feel about creating content when it comes to that type of stuff?
Huh. That's interesting. I think it's an interesting question. It's definitely true. I don't know. Obviously, you know me uh, better than most people, I think, and so you know I have a weird relationship with sex and sexual whatever. But I mean, I feel like it depends what you're doing, right? Like um, if you're making music, you sort of have like an artist's license to kind of do your own thing with it, you know? But like if you're working with, like, I don't know, just a lot of other things. Like, for example, if you're working with kids or if you're working in politics, or like, you're obviously, that's not going to make sense, you know. But yeah, I would definitely like to. I don't want to go. I wouldn't go like overboard or anything, but I would definitely like to have like a music video with like ripped guys without their shirts on, and like, like pride flags, and like, the whole shebang. But um yeah, I don't know. I noticed with your stuff, you're not, that picture today with you in your boxer briefs, like reading or whatever on the bed.
Yeah.
Look great, but uh, that was like, wait, what? Because usually you're fully clothed, if not even more. It's not even like layers of clothing. It was like that, and then the next photo was you in like a hat and a scarf, and like,
Yeah, I mean, I know that when it comes to that type of stuff, it does grab people's attention, and like sometimes that type of stuff can be used for that. I think that one thing that a lot of people have to be careful of is like that type of content can be a slippery slope. I think
yeah,
that if you're posting it because you need the like satisfaction of the likes and the satisfaction of people telling you that you look attractive, I think that it can be a slippery slope. But
yeah, I agree.
I definitely
I
think that
agree.
it can be used to advertise. It can be used to grab people's attention. And I think for me, because my content isn't that for the most part, I think that when I do post something like that,
It
it really
works.
grabs people's attention pretty quickly. And
Yeah.
that was the point of that post. I'm glad that it grabs so many people's attention. Um, Hopefully Eric and I will be able to do a live and talk about his book. I know that he shared that picture on his profile, which was awesome. I definitely had a lot of people find me after he did that. I think that his content is definitely a mature content, but he also uses sexualized photos to kind of grab people's attention as well, which I mean, the book in general talks about the sexual desires of the gay community and how it was criminalized in the beginning, and how no matter how innocent it was, like people got in trouble and it ruined careers for a lot of people because of that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like it was like talking about, like in the first couple of chapters it was talking about like this extremely educated person who got caught, like I think he just like reached over to touch a guy's like penis in a public restroom, and there was cops in the vents, and he was arrested for it. And like
There were cops in the what?
in the vents, so that it was like a setup. They were trying to get
Oh,
homosexuals in the act, and he just happened to
oh,
be in like a public restroom, like beside a park or something, and got caught. And like back in the day, like that goes on your permanent record, and like he had to plea a certain like way to like make sure that it wasn't on his permanent record. And I think it's crazy to think that there was a time where like that kind of thing could happen, whereas now like I think about it because I've had people bring up the fact that I have a YouTube channel and I do talk about sexualized topics. I've had stuff like that brought up in my seminar, and it's awkward for me to know that people watch that type of stuff, but it's also important for me to put content out there like that because I think we have to remove the taboo that surrounds the LGBT community. I think that
well,
too
one
often.
way to do that is also have a lot of famous people various in various areas be gay, you know?
Yeah.
Like I was just thinking while you were talking about this, because do you know the movie Imitation Game
Mm-hmm.
with Benedict Cumberbatch? Not in the US,
Yeah.
fair, but I mean, he got like caught or whatever, and then like castrated because or something, or like the meds he had to take, like all this craziness just because of that. And what's crazy is he supposedly, because of him, the World War II ended 2 years earlier, and like 14 million lives were saved, which is like crazy, you know? It's like no one, but people don't even know about it. So it's like the publicizing of these people, and also having more people, you know,
Yeah.
which is in a sense kind of frustrating, you know, that in order for there to be more like love towards LGBTQ people, that there is all this stuff that needs to happen. You know what I mean? But it just is what it is, I guess.
I mean, to think, because I feel like gay people have been around forever. It's not something
Oh yeah,
new.
for sure.
And I
Like
feel
ancient
like
Greece, like
if you look back on history and like read about all these like historical figures, I feel like there was probably a lot more LGBT people than have been admitted to history, because history is written by people's perspectives at the time. And I feel like when it
right,
comes
right.
to historical people, like, of course, if LGBT wasn't accepted, then that's not something that people were telling the world. And I feel like there's
In some
probably,
cultures it was.
yeah,
Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead, go
no,
ahead.
you're fine. But yeah, I feel like there's a lot of like
The
artists
very
in Europe,
few, yeah.
like during the Renaissance time, that were probably part of the LGBT community. I mean,
Yeah,
going back to like Greece and Rome, like that was kind of
exactly.
celebrated in those times.
That's what I was saying.
But I feel like there's probably a lot more role models out there that existed that we just don't know were LGBT, because it wasn't something that was allowed to be spoken of. And I think that now we've got a platform where we can raise, and I think still now, like in like media, like Anderson Cooper, he wasn't out for
Heck
the
yeah.
longest time.
Yeah, he
He
wasn't
climbed the
unfortunately.
ladder as a straight male and then came out at
Yeah.
the top, which is sad that that's how it had to happen. But I wonder if he had come out earlier in his life, if he would have been granted the same success as he has now.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
But I think that because we do have people like Anderson Cooper, because we do have more celebrities coming out, even in like the NFL and the NBA, we've got people coming out, which I think is really important, because
Yeah.
that's opening the doors for people and saying, hey, it's okay to be gay, and hey, you can do whatever you want, whether it's putting out a rap album or joining an NFL football team. Like, I think that it's really important for those types of stories to come out, and I would love for more LGBT people to put out like autobiographies and biographies so that we can read about them. Because
Yeah, put out some memoirs.
I think
Some
coming
nice
out stories are
memoirs.
different for everyone. But I think the more we can relate to people like that, the easier it would be for the LGBT community to make like a stand.
Yeah. Is that your office, by the way?
Yes.
I didn't ask. It is?
Yeah. Well,
I want the tour.
it's my temporary office, because I normally work out of the corporate building here, but they've
Oh,
shut down the corporate building because they don't want a lot of people in there during the pandemic. So they've put us in like smaller
oh,
places, and a lot of people are working from home. But I have really crappy internet at home, so I can't work from home. So they found me a baby office. So like I've put some pictures
did
up,
you have to? Oh,
and so this office used to belong to someone else. So some of her stuff up, like the mom sign. I'm not a mom, but there's still some stuff of hers up. Like a lot of her stuff is behind my computer as well.
you have to wear your mask or no?
Not in this building because I'm the only one back here, but uh,
Oh,
when I go out around people, I do wear a mask.
yeah, it's good. Solid. Oh,
Ooh, trying to. There's lots of people sending me messages that keep popping up. I've never seen them pop up during a live before.
oh, really?
Yeah, I see them down here at the bottom, but like there's messages popping down from the top. I think I changed the setting or something to where
Oh,
people's
that's
messages are
weird.
coming through. So for people who might be watching this that might be thinking about kind of starting like or putting out their own music, like what type of advice would you give someone?
Find, well, what type of music? Just any?
Any type of music.
Find an instrumental that makes you feel a way that you that makes you intensify a feeling you already have, and then start writing. And in the beginning, it's not going to go to a beat. It's not going to maybe sound good or whatever, but with time it will. And it's really as simple as that.
Have you
And if you want to, if you're not feeling inspired to write, you can pick something you've already written, like a poem, and put it to an instrumental. You just have to figure out like the beats per minute and what genre it is, because if it's rap, it'll be like a rap instrumental with like a hard beat, and if it's like pop, there might not even be a beat. So so anyway,
pop, just
that's
take the
all I
music
got.
from one of the pop songs and just write your lyrics over top of it because they all have the same backbeat in it.
Yeah.
Have you ever taken something from like when you first started and like now that you're more experienced with like music, did you bring it back and kind of like create and change it to make it
Yes.
better?
Yes. I Yeah. It was actually like, it's like R rated. But it was a poem I wrote that was like talking about how things were when I was little, and then it talked about like tragedies, and then at the end of the poem it was like how everything came full circle and I learned from it. So I don't know, that's what it was about.
Yeah, I feel like I don't go back to my original videos or anything that I've created from the beginning because I
Oh.
hate watching them. Uh, but they're
Well, I
definitely,
deleted the songs. I deleted the songs that I did a long time ago, but like my poetry was, it was okay. It's just the the rapping wasn't good. It's really bad. Oh gosh.
yeah, I feel like anyone that's like created something and then go back and like look at it years later, like it's always kind of that cringe moment where you're just like, oh, I don't I don't think that I mean even stuff that I probably create now, I'll probably look
Yeah.
back at years from now and still cringe. I honestly like when people play my stuff when I'm around them, I like get really like anxious and I just kind of want to leave the room. I don't rewatch any of these lives. Like if I try to, because when I
I'm
try to
not
get
gonna
people to do
rewatch
these
it.
lives with me,
Oh my
like I
gosh.
reach out to people and I'm like, oh, I've done so many. I'll like copy the link and send it to people, and sometimes it'll start playing, and I just hear myself talking, and I'm like, ah, cancel, don't play. I don't like listening to myself talk, and editing my videos is the worst because like I've always like I sit there and I just try to focus on the words that are being said and not like my voice because if I focus on my voice like I'll want to delete everything and I won't want to post it.
Well, sending lots of love, and
Yeah, it looks like we got to 6 o'clock.
yeah.
Any words of advice that you would like to end on?
Uh I don't know, just stay positive and spread the love.
Awesome. Yeah, I 100% agree. Well, I want to thank you for doing this with me. I know that doing lives isn't something that like everyone does on a regular basis, so I appreciate everyone that kind of jumps on here and does them with me because I've had months and months of practice doing this. You guys, it's the first time for a lot of you guys, so I really appreciate you jumping on and doing this.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. It was definitely a first time, but it's all right.
Awesome. Well, I hope that you have a great evening. I'm going to jump off of here and drive home. I think that the weather is good, so I should be okay getting home. But hopefully, we can keep in touch. If you're ever
Yeah.
back down here, hopefully, we can hang out again, or maybe once COVID's done, I can come up that way.
Get some coffee, or yeah, come up here and get some coffee.
Perfect.
All
Awesome.
right.
Well,
Bye.
have a good night. Bye.